Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, Property Wealth Decoded. Million-dollar flats have been making news all year round, and I'm sure many HDB owners are wondering, could my home be the next headline? I'm Harvey, a seasoned real estate analyst with 16 years of corporate and realtor experience. Today, I'm going to share the secret sauce behind million-dollar HDB flats. Before we start, we must realize that the value of 1 million has changed significantly over the years. I mean, we talk about inflation, and inflation is real, especially we can see that theme running through globally this year, and in Singapore as well. So therefore, the mindset towards spending $1 million to purchase a property today has definitely shifted, and that includes the HDB segment as well. So recently, I saw an article for one of the editors in Straits Times actually talking about HDB flats and her concern about prices being 1 million and above. I think some 4-room flats in Singapore have already achieved $1 million value, and I could possibly name a few, but typically they are the central parts of Singapore and they have a relatively new leaseholds. And then you will ask yourself, why would somebody pay $1 million for these flats? Because at least when I grew up, HDB flats were supposed to be affordable, good space, and basically fuss-free living. And also a place where I'll set up my first property purchase, and from there I will be able to sell and upgrade to my next segment, be it a condo or landed. So what exactly has changed? So who are these people that are actually shelling out $1 million for HDB flats? Before the recent changes in the rules, a lot of cash-rich retirees who downgraded, and they would be shelling out $1 million for a relatively big flat. But for now, like I mentioned in my earlier video, I think that they may be looking at newer 4-room flats due to the restriction and wait-out period of 15 months for the typology of 5-room flats and above. Now, the second group of buyers, I would put them in a category whereby they feel that even if I would shell out $1 million for HDB flat, relatively in today's market, 1 million may not be able to get you something that is very big or enough for their own family needs, which is why they have then decided to place this $1 million value on top of what they are looking at on the top of their list, including HDB flats, to achieve what I would call needs over wants. And of course, it is seldom being used in HDB typology or HDB terminology. The younger and more savvy ones have started to look at HDB from a per square foot basis. So for example, if I'm looking at say $1,000 per square foot for $1 million flat at 1,000 square feet, for the buyers out there who are looking at it from a per square foot basis, they may find that there's good value to that, because other than the fact that there are some restrictions in terms of having to stay in it for 5 years, you don't have all the bells and whistles, you don't have the pool, you don't have a condo address, but in terms of needs basis, I think it serves their needs. And of course, when they look at flats, there are a lot more grants that are involved. Staying near your parents and first-time buyers, they have a lot of grants. They can consider this grants as part of their budget when they buy a flat, which is what is not available in private. Obviously, for those people who don't believe in shelling out $1 million for HDB flat, there are still other options that are available. They are not at $1 million. But our concept of talking about $1 million flats today is to embrace the fact that $1 million to buy a flat today is no longer something that is very scary. It is not something that is going to be a hurdle when certain people consider buying HDB flats. So this $1 million flat headline may continue to persist, but the difference is the mindset of people looking at $1 million flat today is no longer going to be as big of a shock as it used to be. For example, like COE, right? I mean, now people are understanding that and accepting the reality that COEs could hover around $100,000 for a 10-year entitlement. So if you look at that and you extrapolate that to say a 99-year leasehold, I guess pretty much that kind of means it's about $1 million. So I guess that's why in today, for $1 million, it may not seem that much. An example could be, say you are buying a $1 million flat in Tiong Bahru Estate versus buying a condo that is just a stone's throw away. It could be worth twice the amount of money before you can enter that condo market within that vicinity. So therefore, budget is a real constraint, and therefore, to be in the same estate, the HDB flat at $1 million could be their next best option. As the title says, so what exactly is the secret sauce of potentially hitting $1 million? Well, I think I may be simplistic and say if you meet some of the following criteria. For example, if your flat is centrally located, if I may just plug, say, Dawson or Duxton, or at least along the city fringes like Boon Keng, Kallang, Whampoa, DBSS, I think these are potentially candidates and have already hit and will continue to hit. And if you are not a downgrader per se, if you're just a first-time buyer, I think the older flats, 5-room flats that have a big size, may also be enticing to someone to pay $1 million. And thirdly, rarity. If you happen to own, say, an executive maisonette, an EA, executive apartment, or even a jumbo flat, these products are rare and are not being constructed anymore. In that rarity factor, it could also contribute towards your asking price to hit that $1 million. And two other factors as well. The need to be in that specific area. If your flat is near to a good school or primary school, I think that consideration will also weigh very much into the contribution, eventually to $1 million flat. And of course, granted that there are some older estates where your parents could be staying, and where people are looking to buy flats, if they look into account of all the grants as well, that will play towards their budget of getting to $1 million flat. And although I said two, but I think I could just add one more. If there's a lot of master plan growth around there and the private prices have gone up much as well, I think comparatively, there will be more and more people who will be looking towards that area and also looking to stretch or even consider that $1 million that they are going to pay for the flat will be eventually recovered in their sales. So this is a topic that I think would be useful and interesting for everyone, and I think this $1 million headline will continue. And if you are in the situation right now where you are considering to pay $1 million, say, for a flat, or should you put that $1 million and top up to go into the private segment, and if you're weighing out these two options and you're not too sure where your next step is going to be, feel free to drop them in your comments. I will cover them in the next video, or feel free to PM me and contact me, and we could have a further chat on that as well. Thanks for watching.